Okay, I had this idea. What if you take a demo dog and a gargoyle, and well, you put them together? You'd make a Demogoyle. Gargoyle dog, whatever. You get the point. So I scored these pieces of foam from a garage sale. I think I spent maybe a couple bucks on it. I glued them together, and then after I glued them together, I let them sit for about 24 hours with weights on them. I decided to draw out some heads, two types of heads, one with a mouth that was closed, so a demo dog with a closed mouth, and then a demo dog with more of an opened mouth. After I drew that out, it was time to start carving and cutting, which took maybe about an hour. I used a carving knife for most of it, and then it made a huge mess. Then another tool I used was a jar lid that I poked some holes in it and made it like a grater. So I would just shave away all that foam, but it made a huge mess. So I took the heads off some of the skeleton dogs and just removed the jaws. My whole plan was I was going to take these foam heads and pop them onto the heads. That way I didn't have to completely destroy the skeleton dogs like I did with the other demo dogs. I wanted to reuse them next year and make gargoyles out of them, so I just slipped the head on over that, and then when I was done I would just pop them off. So I cut a hole inside these foam demo dog heads. So this is the one with the mouth that's a little bit open. There I am with my demo dog heads. So I test fitted it on one of my dogs, and it seemed to be exactly how I wanted it. I wanted him to be smiling. Little happy demo gargoyles. I can't remember what we called them. After that, we decided to paint them. We just used some latex outdoor paint that I got from the goof section at the hardware store. The next thing I did was I just used some paper and glued on the paper to give it a little bit more of a texture. So when I painted them, it just didn't look so coarse like the foam. It also gives it a little bit of a protection barrier. So my plan was to dry lock these. I want them to look like stone, like a gargoyle. I did not want them to look like my demo dogs that I made previously. These were going to be used to sit on the columns on the entryway, or the exit actually, of my haunt this year. And then I plan to reuse them and make real gargoyles. I dipped pieces of old t-shirt, ripped up t-shirt into the dry lock, and then I just placed it over it and made sure all the edges were very organic, and I just went away with it just like I did with the demo dogs. Here's it with it dry, and I made it so you can just pop those heads off. Next year I plan to make these into actual gargoyles. I want to make wings for them and horns, and just change them up a little bit. Here's this one. He's got the dry lock, and like I said, I made it so you're only going to see him from the front, but so this little ear part, you don't worry about it, but that whole head just pops right off. It goes like that sound effect there. So he'll be on the pillars at the front entry, which we're not using as a front entry. But so this guy, he's kind of, I used a little spray foam on him, just a little bit. I had to put a weight down here in his gut because he was top heavy. He wanted to fall over. So there's a weight in there, and I glued it in, and I filled it in with some spray foam. But next it's time to do the dry lock and dry lock him up. The worst part of all this is the mess. And then you have to clean this up to go to work. Here he is. I have to flip him over and do his belly, but he needs to dry before I do that. And then we'll paint him. And after we paint him, we'll clean our hands off. Actually, we'll clean our hands off before before we paint him. But yeah, in the right lighting, he'll look good. I always say that, in the right lighting, they will look good. Good morning. It's time for me to finish the gargoyles, or the Demodog gargoyles, that is. Gonna finish this before I go to work. Gonna clean off all the dry lock work, come home, and then I'm gonna finish airbrushing them, and then that whole project will be done. And then on to the next. So I made my biggest mistake. I was airbrushing my Demodog behind me, and I realized I put his head on upside down. Not the right kind of upside down. Not like the upside down you would see in the upside down. Like, I totally put his head on upside down. And it bugs me. He's supposed to be smiling, and so I'm airbrushing him. And I realize he's frowning, and I'm like, why is he frowning? I made them smiling. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I did. There has to be a little happy in a haunt. I'm gonna cut his head off, and I'm gonna fix it, because it's gonna bug me forever if I don't. Even though I'm cutting off the heads anyway and making them gargoyles. Oh man, I'm so mad at myself. I have dry lock left, so I'm just gonna have to cut his head off, reattach it. And I screwed up the airbrushing. Sorry about the laundry noise, but that's life. Yeah, so I kept thinking, it looks so weird. Why does he look so weird? Yeah, because his head's on upside down. That's why. Oh my God. I'm such an idiot. So it's kind of hard to cut because it's not paper towel. I made them really strong with like t-shirt material towels. Oh, I'm so mad at myself. It wasn't easy, but I did it. I left the head on there on purpose so that the other head would just slip right over it. So honestly, now I know how hard it will be to take them off to turn them into regular gargoyles. It wasn't that hard, but it's annoying because I have to redo this whole thing. So his head, the Demogorgons, are supposed to be like that, not like that. You know, it probably doesn't make a difference to anyone unless you're a true fan or just crazy like me, but the single one needs to be on the top, the two on the side, and then the two on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I thought I was going to paint him, but instead I ripped off his head and reattached it and filled in the gaps with spray foam, and I will have to shave down, like flatten the spray foam, and re-put the dry lock on him in all the layers. Oh, my fault, my mistake. You know what? At least he's smiling now. So this is it painted and all finished, and it was time to put him outside on my columns, my little pillars outside of my house. And they are what they are. They're kind of fun, they're kind of cute. Fans knew exactly what they are. And then next year I'll pop off the heads and make gargoyles out of them.